Let's talk that first day since we have it here on Peacock. Um, Dan, can you pull up the bracket real quick? All right, Rutgers, Maryland. What takes you? I know it's like, a team that's looking ahead, and then a Maryland team that had a lot of promise. What do you see in this first matchup, Robbie?
Yeah, I mean, Rutgers has really struggled here down the stretch. They have, I thought they showed some signs of life when Jeremiah Williams got eligible. They won 4 in a row and then kind of hit the skids late in the season. Just haven't had great energy, I feel like, which is surprising for a Steve Peichel coach team. But they've had a disappointing season. Maryland has as well. This is going to be one of those games where both these teams have got to create their own energy. They're both East Coast teams. The crowd could be a little bare for that one because those are probably the two schools that are as far away as possible from Minneapolis, and they've had their struggles. So that'll be interesting. That's going to be one of those games where you're like, who wants to be here? That really is going to be the biggest thing. And then you look at Michigan and Penn State. Michigan has had, let's be honest, a horrible season. Considering and that sounds very blunt, but they've won like 3 games since I think November. So Penn State is one of the great stories, though. Mike Rhodes, he's not going to win Coach of the Year, but they bring back one guy from that team that played last year, and he gets kicked off the team, and he was their leading scorer. And they've won like 7 or 8 Big Ten games. That's a great job by Mike Rhodes in year one. He's had to bring in a bunch of people, and he plays a very unique style, so it's not easy to do that in a short period of time. But they play hard. Ace Baldwin has been phenomenal. I would think that he'll make the All-Big Ten team in terms of the defensive team. But yeah, the first day matchups, those are games where you're like, who wants to be here? Who's already going on spring break? You hate to say that, but
No,
that's the
you're
way
right.
it is.
But that's a phenomenal breakdown there. Your Boilermakers, how you feeling about them?
Well, they had some injury scares yesterday. Zach Edey sprained his ankle, then Braden Smith stepped on the ref's foot and sprained his ankle, which I feel like I'm the curse with my knee injuries back in the day that happened in late February. I'm like, oh my God, this can't happen. This can't happen to us again. But they did finish the game out. Phenomenal season. To win the Big Ten by multiple games again this year, they did it last year as well, is a great achievement for those guys. But now they got to prove it in March, and that's the sad reality that even though you've won the Big Ten, which is a great accomplishment, March is where this team's, I guess, legacy is going to be created. And I think that they are built to win and win big. And Braden Smith and Lance Jones, and even Fletcher Lawyer playing much better. Those 3 guys, I feel like they're ready for the moment. They're more prepared for what's about to come at them over the next 3 weeks. But Edey is phenomenal. He is a generational player. People still say he's just good because he's big. Man, I've seen so many 7-footers that suck, that don't play hard, that don't rebound outside their area, that don't want to play. Big people end up playing basketball a lot of the time because they're like, hey, you're big. You should play center for us. And Edey, he competes. He knows what he needs to get to. That right jump hook is lethal. And if you double him, he'll pass it out. And Purdue is as good as anybody in the country at making threes. They lead the country in 3-point field goal percentage. So big couple weeks for Matt Painter and his team, but they have had a tremendous year thus far.
Megan talked about how, on the women's side, the quarterfinals are where it got spicy. Where do you anticipate some upsets happening in the men's tournament?
That's going to be interesting. That I would say the Michigan State has a lot to play for. They're a team that has had some real struggles down the stretch. Minnesota was hot, but they have kind of had a rough 2 or 3 final games to their regular season. I think Indiana's playing really well. Indiana is a team that could certainly, and look, they're a team that does not shoot threes. Trey Galloway's a little bit banged up. I don't think he came back into the game yesterday. And when he left, they were up like 20-5. He goes out, Michigan State goes back, but they found a way. Khalil Ware is really playing his best basketball of his career. I think that Indiana's a dark horse to maybe make some noise. And certainly Nebraska has had a phenomenal year. Fred Hoiberg is certainly one of those guys that deserves to be in the conversation for Coach of the Year, as is Chris Collins, and I would throw Matt Painter in there as well. But Chris Collins has had to juggle injury after injury after injury. And the fact that they're the 4 seed and going to make the NCAA tournament, and you look at what they've lost throughout this season, that's pretty impressive. But, I'll pick Indiana for a team that makes a run and is the team that upsets the chalk bracket as Mikey Hall, minus his voice, would say.
I'm looking at that bracket, and the instigator in me can't help but play up the fact that Megan, your Wildcats could play Robbie's Boilermakers in the semis.
Just like in the women's
Come
tournament.
on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Let's go.
So give me your best trash talk for why your team.
All right, I got this here. Megan, we whooped you in the women's side, and we beat you guys. Well, we split. Dang, I was going to say we beat you guys twice. We split this year, but some tough calls went against us late. I can't even say
He's got nothing.
Northwestern beat us fair and square on the road.
And
we got the best player. We're gonna win.
They let you exit the floor before they rushed it as well.
I know. Yeah, Northwestern was on.
Very classy folks. Come on, 2 words, boo-booey.
He's an assassin.
That's trash talk enough. Best name in college basketball. Come on.
That's all nice, but we've got the National Player of the Year. We got the National Player of the Year.
And your guards can all shoot, and
Luke Hunger doesn't know what's coming at him here and that they meet.
Hey, and shout out to my guy Bryant McIntosh on the Northwestern bench, one of their assistant coaches, one of the all-time greats. So that's my other big. He's an Indiana boy himself. He knows how to beat Purdue.
That's right. He could have went to Purdue, but
I know.
He spurned us and went to the smart school.
There you go.
So we'll never forgive him for that.
He knows Chicago's Big Ten team.
That's right.